Hello everyone and welcome back to KORR Monsters. This time we are in Las Vegas, Nevada for KORR Monsters Finals 9 Racing. Our field of trucks for finals this year is going to kick off with Herbert Miller in Airborne Assault, Ed Jenkins going from Comedic Gaskets back to Bull Tilt for this event, former freestyle champion Christian Holt in Busted Knuckles, Ward Clayton in Buster, David Langford in Comedic Gaskets, former racing champion Trip Cassidy in Cottonmouth, Kyle Gibson in Craftsman Tools, Fred Malone in Damage Control, Todd Yates in Doggone Crazy, Guy Neal in Flashover, Gene Martin in Glazed and Confused, Nico Brock in Grim Fate. Then we have reigning two-time freestyle champion Mark Moody in Haas CNC, Jim Baxter in Howler, defending racing champion Harper Ray in Linex Defender, Greg Easton in Monkey Business, former two-time racing champion Lonnie Hall in Rambunctious, former racing champion and making his last ever appearance here on KORR Monsters, Randall Boone in Rat Trap 3, former two-time freestyle champion Opal Baxter in Reckless Red, former two-time champion Mike Maxwell in Tonka, former two-time freestyle champion Jack Schroeder in Try Me, Bill Taylor in Violator, our fan vote winner for the year Clay Dixon in Witch Hunt, and rounding out our field, Henry Gibbons in Youngblood. Now we move on to the bracket for round number 1. First side of the bracket is going to have Witch Hunt going up against Craftsman Tools, Airborne Assault going up against Haas CNC, Rambunctious going up against Cottonmouth. That is a race you would expect to see in the finals, but instead it's going to be happening in round number 1. And then Grim Fate going up against Rat Trap 3. And then, of course, 24 truck bracket, 8 drivers going into round number 2. Those are going to be Linex Defender, Glazed and Confused, Youngblood, Bustin' Knuckles, and then on the other side of the bracket, Doggone Crazy, Buster, Howler, and Comedic Gaskets being the other 4 to get that round 2 bye. But going back to round number 1, our matchups on the other side of the bracket are going to be Monkey Business going up against Flashover, Reckless Red going up against Damage Control, Tonka going up against Violator, and then Try Me going up against Bull Tilt. And now we get ready for the first race here of KORR Monsters Finals 9. Craftsman Tools and Witch Hunt on the line, and away they go. Down Thunder Alley into the stadium. Close call at the line the first time by. Witch Hunt going to go a little wide in the turn. Craftsman much tighter in the turn. And Craftsman is going to be your first winner here in KORR Monsters Finals Racing. So now our next race pulls up to the line. Haas CNC going up against Airborne Assault, pair of Chevys. Great start from both trucks. Into the stadium, looking pretty even. Maybe a slight advantage for Airborne Assault. It's all going to come down to the turn, however, and Haas has a much better turn. It's going to get the win. So Mark Moody moving on into round number 2 in Haas. Now, the matchup you would expect to be the finals, Cottonmouth versus Rambunctious. But instead, we're getting it here in round number 1. As they come down Thunder Alley into the stadium. Looks like Rambunctious with the lead so far. Great turn out of Cottonmouth. And at the line, it's going to be Cottonmouth picking up the win by ever so little over Rambunctious. As now we have Rat Trap 3 going up against Grim Fate. Both trucks pulling the front wheels off the ground. Rat Trap with that classic body on it. 82 Ford F-150. The original body that truck ran with. But this race, not very close. Rat Trap with the easy win over Grim Fate here in round number 1. So now we move to the other side of the bracket. It'll be Flashover going up against Monkey Business. Great start from both trucks. Looks like Monkey Business got a little better start. Now into the turn. Who's it going to be? Looks like it's going to be Flashover getting the drive out of the turn to pick up the win. So far, pretty much every win has come from that far lane. So then we have Damage Control and Reckless Red pulling up to the line. Once again, great start out of both trucks. Down Thunder Alley into the stadium. Looks like Reckless Red has a couple truck length advantage, but goes really wide into the turn. Damage Control goes wide out of the turn, That's going to be Reckless Red getting the win there. Almost threw it away in the turn. As now we have Violator versus Tonka. Waiting on that green light, and away they go. Into the stadium. Who's it going to be? Tonka with the lead. The Violator with the better lane. Tonka, huge problems in the turn. Violator getting a surprisingly easy win going into round number 2. Now last race of round number 1, Bull Tilt versus Try Me. Brand new look on Try Me for finals. Black and white hot rod flames. As we go into the turn, Try Me's going to knock down a pole. He's going to win the race to the line barely, but that penalty from the pole is going to cost him. It'll be Bull Tilt moving on into round number 2. So now we take a look at our round 2 matchups. It'll be Linex Defender going up against Craftsman Tools. Glazed and Confused going up against Haas CNC. Youngblood going up against Cottonmouth. Busted Knuckles going up against Rat Trap 3. Doggone Crazy going up against Flashover. Buster going up against Reckless Red. Howler going up against Violator. And then the last race of round number 2 going to be Comedic Gaskets going up against Bull Tilt. Now first race pulling a line for round 2, Craftsman Tools and Linex Defender. Great start out of both trucks. Can Linex make it back-to-back here in KORR Monsters Finals Racing? Craftsman goes really deep in the turn. Linex has a good turn at the line. It's going to be Linex picking up the win as Craftsman gets into trouble. Up and over, he's going to go. Nice soft rollover. As now we have Haas CNC and Glazed and Confused pulling up to the line. Glazed and Confused nailed that light. Almost picture perfect. As we enter the stadium, Glazed and Confused still with a little bit of a lead. It's going to come down to this turn. Great turn from both trucks, but it's going to be Haas CNC getting the drive out of the turn to pick up the win. That far lane definitely seems to have an advantage here. So now we have Cottonmouth going up against the Youngblood. Another truck with a special body for this finals. Youngblood with the inverted orange and blue. But right now, none of that matters. Cottonmouth is ahead by a mile. Goes really wide in the turn. But Cottonmouth still picking up an easy win here in round number 2. Now last race on this side, Rat Trap versus Busted Knuckles. Great start out of both trucks. Into the stadium we go. Looks like Busted Knuckles might have an advantage going into the turn. Goes really wide in the turn. Rat Trap also struggles a little bit, but an easy win for Rat Trap going into round number 3. Now on the other side of the bracket, Flashover versus Doggone Crazy. Off the line they go. You can hear how loud Doggone Crazy is. Into the stadium. And I think Flashover has the lead right now. Doggone Crazy has issues in the turn. It's going to be an easy win for Flashover. Doggone Crazy got to run out of the turn, actually, and Flashover almost went over at the end. But Flashover did get the win. Now it's going to be Reckless Red versus Buster. And Reckless Red nailed the light. Buster was sleeping at it. Into the stadium, it's nothing but Reckless Red right now. Oh, Reckless Red's going to have issues. Goes wide, but Buster also has issues. So it'll be Reckless Red picking up the win there as both trucks struggle to complete that run. So now we have Violator and Howler on the line. Violator got the quicker launch out of the 2 trucks there. Into the stadium on the brakes. Good turn from both trucks. Howler, just like the last 2 trucks, goes wide, and Violator is going to get the win going into round number 3. Now last race of round number 2, Bull Tilt versus Comedic Gaskets. Both these trucks are actually Comedic Gasket chassis. Just Ed Jenkins and Bull Tilt running a different identity for finals here. Oh, Comedic Gaskets goes really wide in the turn. At the line, it's going to be close. It's going to be Comedic getting the win ever so slightly over Bull Tilt. So now we take a look at our round 3 matchups. It'll be Linex Defender going up against Haas CNC. Battle of the Teammates, Cottonmouth going up against Rat Trap 3. And then on the other side of the bracket, it'll be Flashover going up against Reckless Red. And Violator going up against Comedic Gaskets. First race of round number 3, Haas CNC and Linex Defender. Both of our reigning champions meeting here in round number 3. Great start from both of them. Going into the turn, looks like Linex has the advantage. Both trucks a little wide. Haas CNC is going to over-rotate and take out a pole, meaning Linex Defender getting an easy win into round number 4. Next up, Battle of the Teammates, Rat Trap 3 versus Cottonmouth. Great start out of both trucks. Into the stadium we go. Into the turn, Cottonmouth, nice tight turn. Rat Trap goes wide, it's going to be Cottonmouth picking up the win. One of the very few trucks to get a win so far tonight in that near lane. So now we have Reckless Red going up against Flashover. Flashover almost red lit, and Reckless Red much slower on the light. We go into the stadium. Flashover wide into the turn. Reckless Red nails the turn. At the line, it's going to be Reckless Red just barely picking up the win over Flashover. Now last race of round number 3, Comedic Gaskets going up against Violator. Good start from both trucks. Down Thunder Alley we go. Comedic Gaskets really early on the brakes. Good turn from Comedic, bad turn from Violator. Comedic Gaskets getting the win going into the semifinals. So now we take a look at our semifinal matchups. It'll be Linex Defender versus Cottonmouth. And then on the other side, it'll be Reckless Red versus Comedic Gaskets. These are your final 4 drivers here in KORR Monsters Finals 9 Racing, as we have our 2 former racing champions on the line, Linex Defender and Cottonmouth. Coming down Thunder Alley, one of these two is getting a shot at a second title. Into the turn, Linex goes wide, Cottonmouth goes wider. Come to line, it's going to be Linex Defender going to the finals for the 2nd year in a row. Can he go back-to-back here? Or will it be one of these two, Comedic Gaskets and Reckless Red, pulling up to the line? Comedic Gaskets has never won a championship. Reckless Red has 2 freestyle championships coming into the stadium. Who's it going to be? Who has the better turn? Comedic Gaskets nails the turn. Reckless Red's all over the place. So that's going to make our final matchup. Linex Defender going up against Comedic Gaskets. Will we have our first back-to-back champion, or can Comedic Gaskets become our newest racing champion? But first up, we have Luke Riley coming out in Howler to give our trucks a chance to cool off for that final matchup. Trucks running pretty hot here with how fast we're going, so Luke Riley coming out, putting on a little show here for the fans while those trucks have a chance to cool down. Off that blue lane, get a little bit of air. Of course, Luke, a rookie here in KORR Monsters, getting a chance to put on a little show here for the fans. So he looks like he's going to go over this tanker. No, he's going to go over the pyramid of cars, get some good air into a slap wheelie. Of course, Luke Riley driving the second Howler. There is 2 of them. Not a lot of people have been able to figure that out, apparently. But this one, on the older chassis, you can tell because it does not have a wheelie bar and the body's mounted farther forward. Luke getting some great air off that racing lane. This truck, of course, was driven by Jack Palmer this year. Jack's going to be stepping away here. So Luke Riley will be taking over Howler, or this second Howler, going into the new year's. He gets some great air going over the fountain. Lands right in it. So we're going to get some donuts here out of Howler once again. Giving you a little taste of what to expect next week for KORR Monsters Finals 9 Freestyle. But, of course, we're not here for freestyle tonight. We're here for racing. Comedic Gaskets and Linux Defender pulling up to the line. This is what the entire year has come down to. One of these two is going to be your KORR Monsters Finals 9 Racing Champion. Into the stadium, into the turn. One last time. Linux a little wide. Comedic Gaskets nails the turn. And it's going to be Harper Ray and Linux Defender becoming our first ever back-to-back champion. Harper Ray and Linux Defender is now a two-time racing champion here in KORR Monsters. Big congratulations to him, and another huge congratulations to David Langford. First year driving Comedic Gaskets, made it all the way to the finals. And what a great racing bracket that was. One of the best I think we've had here in KORR Monsters. Going on 9 seasons now. But as always, let us know what you thought about this event down in the comments below. And we'll see you next week for KORR Monsters Finals 9 Freestyle. We'll see you then.